you do not need to wait until Warcraft Direct to have a rough idea of what's going to be coming in the next big patch. Because also on the PTR, there are future hints that massaged your wrinkly brain. And I haven't really looked into it. So it's time for you to inform my smooth brain of what's going on. Where are we going? What's happening? What's happened?
So, I'm not going to literally show our paid content because I did write an article about this over on the site. But I will kind of recap it in a way, which is there's a couple of little bits of dialogue, right? And this was kind of picked up whenever the PTR went live. I know Wohead have an article on it as well by Porter. And there's little bits of dialogue added to NPCs that are new in Donegal. And they're new in the PTR. They're not there on live. It's like a little phase shift almost because I was on different characters in the PDR, and the one that finished the max level campaign got this dialogue, but the one who didn't got the old stuff. And I don't want to be too super TLDR with it, but kind of the point is, you see, what are they called? Ricket and Skagit, which are two goblins. They're actually goblins who've been in the game for a while. Skagit's been around since WoD, and Ricket's been around since Wrath.
Gotcha. Okay.
And they're part of Gazlo's Grease Monkeys.
Oh.
Yeah. So Gazlo, who obviously Monty Gazlo, the new leader of the new leader of the Horde Goblins and leader of the
sort of greased up beefcakes,
ready
to go.
Yeah, the replacement for Gallywix.
Yeah.
And he had the short story before the War Within launched, and he's all like, ecology and environmentalism and workers' rights and paid time off.
Oh my God.
Sick leave.
The global bankers at Davos have got to wow.
And working machinery that workers can use and workers not dying randomly. All this kind of woke tosh.
Well, that's awful. I mean, the thing that I hate the most about the clothes that I wear is I do not find, the bones of children in them because they've fallen into the loom. It's terrible, Matt.
Or little help you messages written in them. That's always a fun one.
Someone needs to do that as a piece of world building.
It's kind of dark. Yeah, actually would. So they talk about finding a crystal.
Crystal.
That called to them. They were on a boat, and the crystal called to them, and they went out and saw it. But
where was this boat?
Don't know.
Okay.
Don't actually know. We know that Ricket was on a boat going out with some other people, some other goblins, chasing down this thing that's calling them, and they found it, and they had to get out of there immediately because it was abandoned. It was really eerie, and they all got real bad vibes. And then a storm was coming, so they went, "Oh, we have to get out of here. We can't stay here. This is no crack." So then he goes back and talk about it, and they go, "Well, we need to get to this crystal." The intent is, at least the written intent, is for them to mine it and sell it off because they're goblins and make money. That's what they do.
I guess the immediate read is, are they... So thinking about the location of things, Undermine, which is the goblin city on Kazan.
Under Kazan?
Under Kazan is close to Kazalgar. So is this them on a boat up surface level, or is this them on a boat in Hallowfall?
Surface level.
Surface level.
It's not in Hallowfall. It's not in Hallowfall at all.
I guess that's where it's kind of fun, because we all saw the Goblin Raid icon, and a lot of us I thought we were going to be doing World, Soul, Nerubian, Xalatath things. And goblins have so often just been joke characters in the game. Like, if you do the goblin starting zone, it is kind of a big shitpost. I mean, it's not hard, but you get my point, right? They're not always seen as being like a good vessel for serious storytelling. Blizzard are trying to change that. But I guess some of the concern, or the way that it didn't pass the sniff test, just Goblin Raid, is it felt so different to what the expansion was marketed. So I suppose you can see this, and it looks like it is pulling the goblin stuff into War Within, not pulling us away from War Within and into goblins.
Yes, so I was worried how they would connect that, because obviously we knew the Goblin Raid stuff was coming. We saw goblins down in the Ring of Deeps. We saw them in Ash Ketchum. We're like, how are they going to connect these stories? And I think Beladar is the way to do it, because they found this crystal, right? They found it on an island.
Yeah.
I guess I'll go through the rest of the dialogue. It's on in Donegal, and then get to the other storytelling bits, where they then say, okay, well, Skagit goes, okay, other people have clearly heard this. You probably aren't the only one. We got to get back out there and get it. And they go, okay, well, Gazlo's getting us a Zeppelin. We'll get in touch with the Grease Monkeys, see if we can get that built faster, get out there quick as hell, because the boat's not going to be fast enough, whatever else. So they're going to an island to get a crystal. Except they're talking about this in public in Donegal.
Just having a chat?
Yeah, it's not quiet in the corner. This is kind of scuttlebutt going about. And who else with the dawn of 11.0.5 are actually in Donegal? Arathi engineers. You find Hollowfall engineers around the Forge grounds talking to people, stuff like that, and you're like, that's very interesting. There are 2 Earthen, right?
It's Azerite 2.0.
It is, yeah.
It's the rush for... Oh, my God.
Yes, but not as...
I'm messing with you.
So the thing about it being... there's a link here where there's 2 Earthen talking, and one says, I only heard a little bit, something about a crystal found on an island, and the other goes, that must be why the Arathi are interested.
Yeah.
So the Arathi have heard about this crystal and are going, crystal, fucking go. So the other thing that I have to bring up then is what the Arathi are doing with these Hollowfall engineers.
Okay.
You find an airship engineer, Valenta Thuradale, and Vokret, the Earthen, who's the market reeve of the Forge grounds, and they're talking about a construction project. A construction project that they're getting lots of materials for very quickly because of all the work we did to restore everything. All the supply lines are going. They're everyone's mining like crazy down the Ring of Deeps. They're firing the stuff up the access hatch of the Coreway. Materials flush. They're all free and doing whatever they want. And the Captain Lancecat, who is the Sky Captain Elena Lancecat of the Dauntless, is pleased with the progress. And they're all like, okay, we're building this thing really, really fast. We're setting up the rest of our engineers' tools, all of them, everything they've got to build whatever they're building. And they don't say what it is they're building, but it's an airship engineer. And she says that the engineering standards for our airships are quite strict. Airships, plural. Mm-hmm. So everyone's kind of thinking, are you building an airbase on the Isle of Dorn?
Do they struggle? Oh, on the Isle of Dorn itself, uplands.
Yeah, because they. Because airships can't go up the Coreway.
Oh, that's pretty obvious. Never thought about that.
Yeah, the Hollowfall airships are stuck in the cavern.
Yeah,
they can't go anywhere. Obviously, you could break it down and take it up, whatever, but you'd still have to do that.
My first assumption was an airship big enough to fend off the spooky things that are floating about through the sea. But no, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
overland.
They're building it overland on the Isle of Dorn. We don't see anywhere on the isle, at least not that I've seen, that they are building something. It's just been talked about, so maybe that's going to come later or something.
Oh, the 07 patch. The 07 patch, it almost reminds me of the Argent tournament where, the patch before the Argent tournament, the tournament grounds were there and there was dailies and stuff. If they wanted to try to bring the narrative together in a more smooth way, the 07 patch could perhaps be that construction project.
Yeah.
Or at least that could be a, open world activity, whatever. And then the 0.1 patch would be whatever the result of this is.
Okay.
So it's just a theory.
Why not use teleportation? There's a very quick answer to that for the Arathi. They don't have any mages. Now, they could theoretically ask Earthen mages for help and stuff like that, but I think the intention is they're building a base, which they don't have. They can't teleport a base. And obviously, I saw someone there say, but Jaina can teleport boats. Yeah, they're not going to ask Jaina for help. The Arathi are, outside of getting the Earthen supplies, they're kind of self-contained.
I'd also like to think that Jaina teleporting a boat was a big mistake.
Yeah, that was kind of dumb.
It's okay, here's an example, because I know that you like the shot. The whole Star Destroyer, or whatever it was, go to light speed, cut the thing in Last Jedi, where it was a beautiful shot. That looked really cool.
Extremely cool.
But the big problem then is, why is nobody else weaponizing light speed? But people start to think about, I'm sure there's ways they do in Star Wars that are canonical, but people then think about the implications of that. Where, you shatter a bit of your world building stuff doesn't make sense. I mean, imagine, say, you do a Battlestar Galactica show, but then you just change something that people can do, and now prior episodes don't make any sense.
Yeah, you're basically introducing different elements of power scaling in really, really badly.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what happens a lot of the time in WoW, where...
Oh, it's just really cool. So really cool was Jaina's going to summon the big boat from the cinematic. Mm-hmm. We haven't really seen her do anything like that since, and I have a feeling they're just forget it.
Yeah.
I know. We can bring in a bit of Vin Diesel and say that she was only able to do that because she was using family magic. And that's the only reason why she can do it in that boat, because it's family magic. No, you can't do it with someone else's boat. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. So the Arathi are building an airbase. And for the sake of now, we will assume that this is to chase the crystal. Because there's another thing I want to talk about at some point. It's all in the article, of course, but maybe I'll leave that for a video or something. 'Cause it's a little bit lengthy in talking about the Arathi at length. Said length twice. But there's some other thing where we know they're building something on the surface, because I saw people ask that. Where's the proof? There's 2 Earth and Storm Rangers who are over by the Storm Rangers are basically a new thing that aren't the Storm Riders. They're kind of more Elven Ranger inspired. It's literally a new organization to kind of show that they're growing and changing and all that stuff. So they were talking and saying, I heard they're planning to build something here on the surface. And then do you think the Council Ward would object to their project? And kind of goes, don't know, but he's been in talks with them. So obviously if they're building a base and Merrick's goes, this is kind of our island. Do you fucking mind, please?
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of chance for drama there, because what are the Arathi building a base for? To fly out to the crystal, possibly. But do you need more airships for that? Where else do they have to go?
It's like you could scout out.
Yeah.
I guess, the implication is they need a form of power. You can fly, I guess, right, you can fly a drone somewhere to find out what's going on, but if you want to project power, you need a carrier strike group.
Yeah. So they're probably going to send a fleet over.
They're just going to send the Gerald Ford out to see what the crack is.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Because if they're like, there's a crystal over there, we're going to go over to it and see what the crack is.
Yeah.
They're not going to send like 2 boys and go, we'll see, that's all right. They're going to send an army because they want to control that island.
Yeah.
They will want that island for themselves, like they have the Howl of All Caverns.
And the crystal, I guess, also remember, so we help them out and our interests are really aligned. But they are seemingly a giant monolithic theocracy. So
okay, if you're talking about back home.
Well, just the Arathi themselves, how they think. You look at a character like General Steel Strike, even the side quest where you're just having dinner with the Steel Strikes.
Mm-hmm. Good quest.
Good quest.
Very good.
But you're going to do that because you want to amp up the drama later on.
Yeah. So that's where I think I might as well just get into it now because I have it all here. Right?
I mean, Faerun outright dropping the hints of, some of your kind wouldn't be welcome at home.
Yeah. So that's one thing. We can assume they're going for the crystal, but I had a thought, which is, what would the Arathi be doing now? Because we kind of sorted everyone's problems, right?
It's very good of us, yeah.
Yeah, we're no further along. We're still going, what the fuck's Azeroth making noise for? We've got a vague idea, but we don't really know what to do about it. We're kind of in the place where the next plot progression is us kind of waiting around for something to happen, in a way. Outside of, the Titan Disc fragment quests, maybe is the only real direction we have. And that's kind of more info dumpy than it is plot direction.
And the idea of the plot being kicked forward by groups and power structures in the world doing something is such a nice contrast to some points in the past where it was the cast of fantasy EastEnders.
Yeah.
Remember, especially during the Shadowlands time, some of the BFA times, even though BFA was supposed to be this big, continent-spanning existential war, it really was quite driven by what are these small casts of characters doing. Whereas here, if it's, the Arathi are launching an expedition and they obviously want that. They have their own desires, beliefs, goals. They're an agent in the world and they force everybody else's hand, or maybe the goblins do. That actually makes it feel like the World of Warcraft's a world and not just a small melodrama.
Yeah, exactly. So a few people have kind of got it, which is, they're going home. Where else do they have to go? Their home empire, calling troops.
Oh, yeah.
That's one possibility.
Because they were stuck and they're no longer stuck.
Exactly. I was thinking, well, what are they going to do next, right? What are they going to do? What's everyone going to do, was my thought. Well, the Earthen are kind of just, they're chilling. They're just back to do whatever they want to do. They can go and make pottery over by Freywold Village, or they can, help to fix the Coreway, things like that. But, and Ashkahet is the other people. They're kind of, I suppose the Earthen up and down are both kind of doing whatever they want to do. The Bringing Deeps and Machine Speakers are all back to full force. Ashkahet, they just lost their queen. Their empire's got new leaders in the Severed Strands, so they're like, okay, well, we have to rebuild. So they'll be on that, and they'll just kind of, they probably won't be doing much for a while while they sort that out.
They won't be rejecting power externally. They've
Yeah.
got to fix shit.
Yeah, exactly. So they have a long way back. But the Arathi are like, well, we now, Belladar's still going dark, which is something that needs kind of solved. But they have access to the surface again. They have access to, they don't have the war with the Nerubians at all. They have their own homesteads. They have the Earthen trading with them. They have the Earthen giving them supplies and letting them seemingly build this airbase.
Well, Belladar still going dark makes sense because then they need external resources to...
Yeah, but it means like they now have, what are they going to do? And it's like they can, because what actually happened to them was their mission was put on pause by not being able to finish it.
Yeah.
Because they got there, they were teleported, they're like, mission complete, we found Belladar. Our fucking mages are dead. We can't finish our mission.
And Jaina can't teleport them home.
Yeah, because she doesn't know where home is. Otherwise, that would be really weird and stupid.
Also, weird Storming Sea stuff. You don't know if there's Titan funny business.
Yeah, and you can't send one airship across. You need a fleet. You need a base, because they came over by a fleet and only like one survived or only a couple survived by pure luck, basically. So to go back, you're going to have to go through the Storming Sea again, relive that. So you're going to need to have a force to do that. So their next step is, we can get back to what we were trying to do 15 years ago, which is go home and get the Empire over to see get the Emperor over to Beldar. So that's one of their next steps. As to whether that's the point that we're going to see soon, or if that's a little bit later down the road, it does bring me to all of the drama that's inherent in that. Because we have Faerun, and if the Empire, assume the Emperor comes over. They establish teleportation, or they establish like some sort of route, whatever. The Emperor comes over. What's he going to be doing? Is he going to come over and be like, new allies. Well, lads, how's it going? This crystal's pretty fun. Does anyone know what's going on? I have a funny feeling the Emperor, if it's the same one, I can't remember his name, Thoradin the Fourth, if it's the same one, or if too much time has passed and be his son or whatever else, but they have a history of conquest through steel. Literally, that's what they're proud of. That's what they talk about. Yeah. They conquered their continent.
Blood and iron.
Yeah, so if he shows up, he's not going to be like, "Can I have a look at Belladar, everyone?" If Anduin meets him on Donegal and goes, "Hello, Emperor, I also like the light. Do you want to be friends?" The Emperor's more likely to slap his hand away and say, "Who the fuck do you think you are? I'm the Emperor. Don't look at me. Don't touch me. I'll kill you and all your people." Maybe not. Maybe there'll be some decorum to it, of course.
Well, an emperor of an empire like that is likely going to be different from, the King of Stormwind.
Yeah.
A dude who rules a city and a few flipping hamlets.
Yeah, he's going to show up and be like, so the Isle of Dorne and Castle Gar is now mine. I have an army at my back. Fucking deal with it. Which is rife for drama because of obviously the Earth and go, "But we're your mates." And he goes, "Who the fuck are you, rock dickheads? I don't care." Faerun obviously isn't going to like that. Some of the Hallowfall Arathi aren't going to like that. So there's a very clear distinction in how the side quests and how the lore books of Hallowfall actually kind of set up a schism between the Hallowfall Arathi and the Arathi Empire. Not all Hallowfall Arathi belong to the Arathi Empire in ideology anymore because of the time away.
That'll be way better for culture building than like previous Blizzard things.
Yeah. Like there's going to be real stuff in there. Now, as to where that happens is a different story. Because I think the focus now is going to be on that crystal, which I haven't said it out loud. Everyone in chat's kind of, got to the same point. It's the top of Belladar, right? It could be something else. There's nothing to suggest that it's the top of Belladar. Outside of it's a crystal, it's big, it's kind of eerie, and the Arathi are interested. So for, if I were writing this, I would not be enough of an asshole to say it's a separate crystal, by the way. And I don't think Blizzard will do that anymore.
You don't need to introduce a second crystal when you already have a big crystal that's been a massive narrative focus.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. By all rules of storytelling, it's just Belladar.
Though there is the Xal'atath crystal from Season of Discovery, but I think that's just a cute nod more than anything else.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And like you say, well, why did the goblins not say, it's Belladar? Because the goblins didn't see Belladar.
Yeah, no shit.
They're not down Hallowfall.
The Venture Co. goblins are also like a different bunch.
Yeah, they're in Ashkahet. And they were never near Hallowfall to begin with. The Venture Coat now, yes. So we've got the goblins to talk about as well, because the goblins is actually our next patch's focus, right? As far as we can tell from the Goblin Raid icon and things like
Goblin
that.
Raid. I mean, you could call Dazar. Yeah, you could call Dazar Allure Troll Raid. and it is a raid in a troll place, but there's more than that going on.
That's true.
If they say goblin raid, that could just as easily be an Arathi assault on goblins from their big base. Or that could be an element of it. Like, I guess not every raid has got to be the palace of some enemy where you kill a bunch of lackeys and the big boss at the end. There are raids like Dazar'alor that are more of a story.
So, I fully agree with you. However, I do have some evidence from Blizzard themselves.
Oh shit.
Monty Gazlo says this is in the questing down in Ashkahet when you're in not Loam, what's it called, Marl, the new Niffin place down there.
Don't take me back to Loam.
Yeah, with the venture company Jenny Boombuckle and Monty Gazlo trying to put a stop to her.
Yeah,
and they kind of end up being like sort of not friends, but on equal terms. And I think he's trading her a flamethrower or something like that. And he goes, the low price is a friendly meal over at Corby's Cabana. I want to hear more about where you're from. And she goes, you mean Undermine? Sure, I'm in. And you're like, okay, well, Gazlo being, good at picking up the Goblin Ladies aside, that is the Undermine mentioned. Then it's not just mentioned there, because he says to you right after, we'll need to be careful with the venture company, but there's no need to fight them while we're here on other business, which is different from us murdering them every time we see them.
Yeah.
Particularly when they mention undermining casual conversation, that warrants further chat.
That does.
And Gazlo saying that to us is also Blizzard telling us directly the undermine's a thing you should remember and think about it. Which is also why...
if a character casually mentions it, that means it's coming.
Yeah.
It's like Dragon Isles just happening to be in a, little book thing that...
Khazla-Gar just happening to be in a book.
Yeah.
The Emerald Dream stuff just happening to be in a book. Aluna here just happening to be in a book. Like, that's Blizzard's new storytelling technique. Their new MO is to seed this stuff in the patch, so then we all get to be excited about what's coming next.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, it works really well, because I really, really like putting stuff together. What was the other thing about it? Yes, the other thing was that the goblins tunneled in Ashkat, the venture company. And they're also, the ones in the Ring and Deeps are also there, inexplicably, at Opportunity Point. So I won't get too deep into Opportunity Point because I could talk about that for ages because of the Kajamite connection and all that stuff and the mortality connections. But I will say there's what looks like a caved in tunnel beside the elevator that goes back up to the Orcreg.
Oh.
There's what looks like a caved in tunnel, and they said they burrowed in. But you think about where they burrowed in from.
They just boring companied over.
Yeah, so in... I'd probably better if I could show the map, but maybe I'll just do that, actually, because I have it here. Let me just... Because I was going to start gesturing wildly with my hands. I'm like, this is where it is.
Like this is casting a spell.
Yeah, it's like, do you know they're over to like the south kind of easty bit? So here we have...
Yeah, I see it. Okay.
So, is it here? Yes. So, this is my character facing the tunnel in the Ring of Deeps. It comes in from the southeast. That circle there is roughly where Kazan is, and Undermine is under Kazan. So it literally lines up that they went over this. They went over this direction and ended up in Ashkat or the Ring of Deeps. It just makes sense. It's a literal there's a bit of a curve to it, but otherwise it's just dig.
Yeah.
Just dig, and there you go. You've got that. So basically, there's a whole bunch of stuff coming together here that is just our next major story piece. And this is without seeing any story quests on the actual 11.0.5. All that stuff's encrypted. Like there's an encrypted Silver Covenant Ranger, I think she's called, and it's just Vrisa, basically. It's just not the actual Vrisa model yet, I think. So there's that to
is it if you're doing questing with the character, but then you see another person questing with the character character gets renamed to Silver Covenant Ranger, not Clearia.
Yeah, I think so anyway. There's multiple map connection points that are inaccessible, just like the Zarlek Cavern. Yeah, it's one of those. It's one of those down there in the Ring of Deeps. So basically, yeah, that's kind of it. The only thing about that conversation that's weird is Lady Goblin saying the Undermine to Gazlo and other goblins if he wouldn't know about it. I think there's an element of goblins being from different enough places when they grow up that they aren't all central to the Undermine. They might know of it, but they wouldn't actually know huge amounts about it or how it is now. There's also an element of Blizzard being directly talking to the player there. So I kind of get what you're saying, but I think it's maybe not that like super. I don't think it's too bad realistically.
Yeah, do I actually know if we know where Gazlo was born?
No, no clue. No clue. So the only other two things I want to talk about in regards to the Undermine the Goblins is there's the seeds kind of sown by the short story A Goblin Way.
Yeah.
Which was before, and it was all Gazlo, showing up and being all like, yeah, do the things right. Don't abuse your workers. But there was a particular bent on that, was very specifically, Noggenfogger says, what are you, a shaman now, or something to that effect? And he goes, actually, I have heard that the elementals are really mad and Azeroth's not happy. So that's another angle for them to push that story, which we saw on the Isle of Dorn. We see it in the Ring and Deeps. We see the elementals up and in arms and doing stuff. So that's like a thing they could push with that, especially with Undermine, because we do have that problem of what are the venture company doing everywhere they go? They're wrecking the planet. And obviously you turn around and go, oh, did Greta Thunberg fucking write this? And it's like, to a degree, sort of yes. But I think it works in the grand scheme of things in terms of like we have shamans and stuff like that talk about that kind of thing. And there's a lot of like undertones there as well across the story. It's also
been there with the venture company since 2004 and probably from goblins in Warcraft RTS from...
Yeah.
It's not a new thing.
Yeah, I mean, Warcraft 3, what do you do with a goblin shredder? You tear down the forest for the orcs, like... So it makes sense. The other part then is...
Do they do it in a way where it feels natural and it doesn't feel like the characters then look directly at you through the screen and say, and the message of this is that... You got to do things deftly and sort of not be ham-fisted.
Yeah, the Goblin Engineering Wave boards, the trading post, the recruited friend, Goblin Armor and Mount, and the Shield Wing that was said in the dialogues or in the description specifically to be from Undermine. Yeah, they've been building towards it in a huge way, which I think is... It works. I think it's great. The last thing then is because the venture company are traditionally our antagonists.
Yes.
But if Gazlo's approach in A Goblin Way is indicative of how we'll see reform in goblins, it's probably not going to be from walking into Undermine and killing every venture company goblin we see. I think there's a word for that, which I'm not going to repeat. But I think they're gonna. I think they're gonna have the venture company be in the way that they're open to interpretation or open to like negotiation with money. Gazlo might just turn around and be like, you can make more profit by not being short-sighted, and then convince them of that and going, fuck, actually, all right, let's try to do that.
Yeah, so good. Potentially. They can make it a Warcraft story that is, it's not about Greta, it's about long-term shareholder value instead of short-term shareholder value.
Exactly.
Very good!
Exactly. Now, we do need villains, of course. We will need people to kill. Gallywix, don't know, because Gallywix was last spotted in Tazavesh, cozying up to the brokers. So God knows what that means for him if they continue that forward, or he just shows up eventually, or he's been secretly in Undermine working forever. But the last part of Goblins to talk about is outside of the side quests, which are kind of sort of relevant. The Dark Fuse. You may have noticed the Dark Fuse Goblins in the max level campaign. They were the ones in the Deep Forge Golem Works, I want to say, and they were the ones just stopping us from putting together our Earthen army that we needed to deal with the ultimate threat of Xal'atath and Rubians. So we sorted that out with Brinth and Dagran and Zizi, the little robot thing, which is obviously a Star Wars thing because it's all the little terminology things.
Oh yeah,
which is all right. That's good enough. But the Dark Fuse didn't die, and their origins weren't explored. Supervisor Radlock was like, "Shit, we've been got, team. Let's get him next time." Full fucking Team Rocket kind of shenanigans get out of there. So the Dark Fuse is this like unexplained goblin mercenary faction that have dark in the name. Just like, Dark Flame.
Yeah.
And you go, okay, well, did Xal'atath, following her general MO throughout the entirety of the expansion so far, which is Ansarek and Stormguard Gorin and the Candle King, and the other one that I forget now, who was the Elric, lead of the Order of Night. Is that another person that she was like, let me explain to you the power of the dark magic void stuff that'll make you really cool?
Yeah, okay, so they could still work her in, and I guess if Xal'atath's whole thing, because her whole thing is basically being, I will solve your problem there are no downsides to this deal, then, I mean, goblins, greedy, want resources, yeah, it makes sense. They're kind of manipulatable. So there you go. That's a bunch of things, and we'll probably see Undermine, but we'll probably also see, maybe, an island with Big Crystal on it.
With the top of Belladar on it?
Yeah.
Which would be fucking fantastic.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Just need Velen to show up and go, I know exactly what this is. It's a spaceship, and here's all the narrow.
Plot hole!
I know them all by name.